Okay, this is my verbal tribute to Michael Jackson. I've already done a vocal one, which I hope you all liked. If you would like me to do more, if you think I should do more in the vocal reading. Well, actually, if you'd like me to do more, just say. I don't think I could really handle everybody telling me not to sing. Anyway, well, I suppose anybody and everybody who's watching this video right now knows enough about Michael Jackson. If you didn't, then you probably wouldn't be watching this video. But I believe that I felt like I had to make a tribute. I mean, he's the reason why I started singing. I mean, granted, my versions of his songs are a little bit on the rough side, but I'm not Michael Jackson. I mean, I did pick up singing from him when I was very young, but I kind of adapted my own style, because after a while you tend to learn as a vocalist that you have to have your own style. You can't imitate, unless you become an impersonator, but that doesn't really help having an actual career outside of impersonation, of course, which I will state I have the utmost respect for impersonators. It is a great tribute to the actual stars they impersonate. Everybody knows how Michael Jackson started, in the Jackson 5 as a young boy with his brothers, and he slowly moved up and stayed with Jackson 5 for a considerable amount of time until eventually he went solo. Now Michael went through a lot of things, as all of his fans know, from accidents on stage to a few health issues to problems with the press, which I will refrain from swearing during this video, but as a hardcore Michael Jackson fan, I will tell you that it is not easy. I would run through his life story with you right now, but sadly they only give you 10 minutes on these blooming things. So unless I did it in several parts, which would probably be about 50 parts, he had 50 years, and I don't think I could condense a year into one video, so make that about 100 parts. I could maybe condense 6 months of his career into one video. Maybe if I spoke really fast. Anyway, he was a great man. I mean, not to mention that he was a child at heart. People misunderstood him. They believed he was some creepy man who, invited kids into his home and did unspeakable things to them. I mean, nothing could be farther from the truth. I mean, these people have got to bear in mind, Michael didn't really have a childhood. I mean, he spent every day of his childhood working towards the Jackson 5. And when he was in them, he spent every single day practicing and singing and training and everything else. Because his father wanted them to succeed. And they did. They were a great success, but at a price, because Michael lost his childhood in the process. And when he became an adult, he finally had the freedom to do everything he wanted to do as a child. So he opened Neverland Ranch. I mean, a place where kids could go to feel safe and to have the things that they'd never had before. He basically shared his wealth with kids that were less fortunate. But then, sadly, a select few kids who will remain nameless in this video, because as I said, swearing is not something I'll be doing, decided that they wanted some of his money. It wasn't enough for him to share it with them. It wasn't enough for him to be compassionate and kind. No, they wanted some of his money, so they made up stories about him doing unspeakable things to them, which I won't list here, which was completely atrocious. Michael was harmless. He was a musical genius who is the reason why several art forms exist today. He basically created pop music. He is responsible for several forms of rock music, including the pop rock crossover, as far as I'm concerned. He was one of the greatest dancers of all time and inspired several generations to try to go after their dreams. I mean, he succeeded in having exactly what he wanted. I mean, he was extremely happy until the press started slamming him and saying things to him that, to be quite frank, for Michael was agonizing. I mean, he wasn't that kind of human being. He wasn't a bad person, and them saying those things to him, they were unspeakable. I mean, I think every fan who's watching this video saw what he was like during that court case. I mean, he could barely stand towards the end of it. I mean, him hearing those things, people saying all those things about him, he just couldn't take it. You know, I mean, in the end, Michael tried everything to make up, to basically give the fans something. I mean, he'd already given us so much, you know. He'd given us pretty much his entire life. But in the end, he wanted to give us fans something, so he did this whole 50 concerts thing, which wasn't actually supposed to be 50 concerts, apparently. It was supposed to be a small amount of concerts, and branched off into 50, and because Michael's never let his fans down, well, not if he can help it, you know, he worked as hard as he could to actually get the concert off the ground, to actually do it. Sadly, he died before the concert could be finished. Sadly, he just died. I mean, it's sad that he died at all without factoring in that he didn't get to finish his concert, you know? I mean, I don't think there's a single fan that would disagree with what I'm saying here. I mean, there have been some amazing tributes from some big stars. Most of the tributes I can understand and appreciate, you know, like, say, some of his oldest friends like Quincy Jones and a few others. But there are a few tributes that, for some weird reason, I just get the feeling that, you know, they may not be as sincere as they say they are. You know, there are like press people that are making these tributes, and these are the exact people that damn near tore him down during those cases. You know, I mean, they're just trying to save face. I mean, I don't know if people have been seeing what's been on TV. I mean, of course, there has been the full Michael Jackson rundown of the 40 best tracks that he ever did. You know, and on another one there was full interviews with people like Snoop Dogg and all of those calling in to express their condolences for Michael's death. But on some other sites, there have been, you know, videos of the court cases saying, oh, he did this, he did that, so on and so forth. He didn't do any of it. He wasn't that type of person. He was never that type of person. You know, he was a child. That's all he was. He was a man making up for a childhood that he lost, making up for a childhood that he never got to have. There's nothing wrong in that. You know, he was doing nothing wrong, but living life. I mean, people were punishing him and calling him all these names for not turning into a stuffy adult, not turning into a man who didn't know how to, you know, didn't have an imagination anymore. I mean, they expected him to become, you know, a suit-wearing, incredibly boring human being who had no imagination, and, you know, all he thought about was taxes and bills and all of that stuff. He wasn't. He was, you know, a human being that stayed in touch with his inner child, so to speak, that wanted to continue having fun. I mean, this was a 50-year-old man, you know, who just wanted to live life, you know, and these people stopped him from doing that. I mean, to be quite frank, it was atrocious what they did to him. You know, I mean, the last few years of his life were unfortunately hell for him. I mean, he ended up abandoning Neverland Ranch and moving around. I mean, you know, and then he died. I mean, it was really an unfortunate thing. I mean, really sad thing. It's taken me, I still haven't recovered from his death at all. You know, it's taken me a while to even be able to discuss it with anybody. I was so broken up about it, I could barely talk about it, you know. I mean, I spent the entire day after hearing about his death watching tributes and news reports and listening to his videos and music and records, you know. Well, it turns out I'm running out of time on this video. If you would like me to do any more, I will be happy to run through his life story. I would be proud to. In actual fact, I'm probably going to. You know, because this is the best tribute I can actually do. You know, I want to do a tribute to him, and I don't know if I can do a better one than this. You know, than some video comments and tributes and running through his life story and all this. Please leave your comments on the site if you like this video, if you appreciate what I've been saying, then please tell me, you know, and express your feelings over Michael's death. Feel free to comment on my page about how it's affected you and all that. You know, maybe together we can get some tributes together that are worthy of the King of Pop. You know, I mean, he gave us so much. The least we can do is give him something back. Anyway, I am going to have to go. I'll try and put another video on later. Thanks for listening. Bye.